Shalom Aleichem Mishpacha, and welcome to the Wilderness Assembly Podcast, episode number 1. This is Matityahu Shoer, aka Israel Ben Hagoyim. Today's episode is Healing and Overcoming, and I am joined today with guests Charles Grenci and Sahel Ben Yosef, otherwise known as Glenn Miller. It's my prayer that today's episode may be edifying and fruitful to all who might hear it. And without further ado, here is the broadcast.
Charles, how do we pronounce your last name?
Grenci.
Okay.
Well, I was pronouncing it wrong all this time. I was saying Grenci.
Many people pronounce it that way. It's actually a Turkish name.
Oh, it is, huh?
Yeah.
What's it mean?
It means disciple or student.
Nice.
Cool.
I got married to a woman who's a Jew and who's really into names.
So it's like a Hebrew word, Talmud.
So so she wanted to know the meaning of my surname, and she couldn't find it online, and I couldn't find it online. And I remember that I had a family crest that my uncle from New Jersey had given me, and I was able to find that, and it turned out to be very telling and explaining that our family emigrated to Italy from Turkey around the year 800, which was the time that Islam swept through Turkey.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Where's your family from in Turkey? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But it's interesting to me that all 7 churches in Revelation chapter 2 and 3 are in Turkey.
I feel like sitting here, there's lots and lots of stories Glenn can tell. And Charles, I know that you also have a lot of very interesting stories as well. And I don't feel like I have as many of those adventuresome stories to tell. And I could probably sit here and listen to you guys for hours, just the different insight and experiences and things like that you both have and can share with people. I know today we really wanted to talk about health and cancer and how people can overcome cancer. Charles, as far as I understand, you have overcome cancer 2 times, I believe. Is that correct?
I would offer that it's 3, but I would also add that none of the times was I diagnosed by a doctor. And in the year 2000, I made a decision to stop going to doctors. I had a bad experience with a surgical procedure that was the beginning of a journey for me to go away from industrial medicine.
Glenn, right now you are in the middle of this affliction, and I was just kind of hoping that we could start off with when you feel like it kind of started for you. Give us some backstory on your situation.
I guess it was about 5 years ago. I had a prostate exam, and the AMA doctor in Southern Oregon said he thinks I should have a biopsy because the PSA level had gone up from the year before. And I think had gone to him for 3 years, and PSA level kept getting a little higher. I forget what it was, 6 or 8 or 9 or something. And anyway, I said, well, if they stick this thing, and he said it would really hurt, this biopsy, and might not be able to work for a week or 2. And I was like, wow, that sounds pretty drastic, and I don't like pain. And I said, well, they stick this thing in and pull some tissue out. If it's cancerous, won't that make it spread? And he said, well, it could. And I said, I don't want to do it. So I didn't do anything. And then maybe about a little over a year ago, I had this worst disease I ever had in my life until now. But at that time it lasted about a month. I couldn't work. I was coughing up all kinds of green gunk. Couldn't lay down without coughing up crap. And after a month, it started getting better. But I started feeling like I pulled muscles in my right groin, and then my left groin, and back in my right groin, and then in my right back and my left back. And I started walking slower and couldn't play frisbee with the grandkids. Just if they threw it right to me, I could catch it. But if I had to move quickly to the right or left, I could feel pain. And I started getting more pains and in my back at bed at night and stuff like that. And then I kept putting it off. Amanda kept telling me, my wife Amanda kept telling me, you need to go get a blood test. Anyway, so I put it off so long that by the time I got the blood test, they found out my PSA was the highest they'd ever heard. And this was about 7 months ago, I think it was. October, November. They said it was 6,745. And they had real concerned looks on their face, the doctors and stuff. And so anyway, I deteriorated pretty fast. All of a sudden my walking, I had to have my hiking poles, and I still couldn't walk very good. And then I graduated within a few days to a walker, and I only used it 3 days. And then all of a sudden I said, I can't use a walker. I need a wheelchair. And real nice people around here built a ramp to get into the house and just offered their services, for free, and helped me out and got me a chair that reclines. And I was in that for a few days until I started getting bed sores, and we figured out I could get on hospice. So they brought me this hospital bed that I've been in now for about close to 6 months, 5 months or something. And it's and I need help from my middle of my back, my middle of my groin, or my abdomen, stomach area is numb, tingly. Feels like when your foot falls asleep, there's pins and needles going in it, all the way down to the tips of my toes. Some days it's pretty bad where it's like hard. It's hard to. Amanda will put some salves on it that have arnica and frankincense and CBD oils and stuff like that to help relieve this numbness and tingling. Sometimes it's burning, but then my legs, the only movement they have are spasms. They just jolt and do things, and if they jolt too hard and too fast, I let out a whoa, a scream, because it goes all the way up into whatever the enemy has inside my back and stomach. When it jolts, when my legs jolt, or if they're in pain, it's like the most excruciating pain. I couldn't handle it. I've told when I go into those painful moments, I just pray and try to praise him and thank him and ask him to please relieve this pain. And I usually it starts subsiding after maybe 10 minutes to a half an hour, and then I have some calming relief, and I'm just so grateful when I'm not in pain, because it's not something I could live with. I don't know. I guess that's about it. Oh, I have no control from my mid-abdomen to my toes, meaning I have no control of when I defecate. And my wife has just been a gem, having to clean me up and do all the stuff that she was never trained to do. And so I pray for her more than I pray for myself, except for when I'm in real pain. It's there's nothing, there's no way that I could live that way. I couldn't live with that kind of pain if it went on longer than the episodes I've had. Our lives have totally changed from being, outdoors and hiking and doing a lot of, things in Yahweh's creation.
What specific protocols has the doctor prescribed that you've been following?
We also, I have to say this before I think we even went to a naturopathic doctor. There's a friend of ours that's a Torah observant, Yeshua believing nurse at the hospital here. And he came by and gave us all kinds of stuff out of the goodness of his heart, vitamins, like turmeric and Matt and Irma too have heard things. And so we were taking chlorine dioxide, and it's the most awful thing I've ever drank. It's just nasty tasting. And then sometimes Amanda would put a little shot of DMSO in it, which made it even worse, but it was supposed to be good. And I kind of cut it out recently because I'm doing so many different things. Fenbendazole and ivermectin and anti-parasitic cleanses, and just wondering if I should be eating meat. I stopped eating sugar, stopped drinking coffee. I haven't had any alcohol except a little swirl on my tongue of wine on Pesach. No flour, I've changed the diet, and I was always pretty health conscientious and eating organically and stuff like that. But I had an addiction to sugar, I have to admit, and usually it was in the form of honey or maple syrup or something that I thought was good. But I guess when I got the cancer or whatever the enemy of wickedness that's infiltrated my body, it fed on whatever sweets I was addicted to. I can't remember everything the nurse Daniel brought to us, but he's come to visit and pray and stuff like that too a few times, and bring us, fish oil is another one, and graviola. Irma and Matthew sent me some graviola and some chlorine dioxide. Amanda's also made this juice that Charles said his wife was told to take by Yeshua, the way I understand it, and it was pomegranate with the grated ginger, lemon, and lime, and then top it off with spring water. It was about 2 liters, and drink 2 liters a day. But I'm not sure what she was diagnosed with or what kind of cancer it was, or if that's good for everybody. And then we started going to the naturopath. We go on Mondays, tomorrow, and they do a blood ozone thing where my blood goes in one arm and comes out another and goes through all this stuff, and they add oxygenated ozone to it. I don't know if you've heard of that. And they started, this is hydrogen gas, Brown's gas. We've heard it was really good, and it seems to help out with the pain too. Seems like I first started taking it at the homeopathic doctor's office maybe 2 months ago, and it seemed like the rest, I'd go in there not feeling good, and I'd come out feeling, pretty good, and sometimes the whole next day I'd feel good. And now I got my own oxygen or hydrogen gas, so I'm kind of doing it usually in the morning before I even arise. Amanda turns it on and gives it to me, and I drink some water and take some vitamins and things. They give me IVs of vitamins, vitamin C and magnesium and zinc, and they put glycerin, ozonated glycerin in some of these, and DMSO too. And they ozonated glycerin. Glycerin is something cancer wants to attack because it's a sugar. And when they ozonate it, the ozone apparently is supposed to eat the cancer. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't know if it all works. Seems, I don't know. I just don't know. So I have good days and bad days, and good parts of a day and bad parts of a day. And some days I feel positive and feel like I'm getting better and Yeshua is going to heal me. And other days I feel like I'm not getting better. It's getting worse.
Charles, you quit going to doctors in 2000 after you had a bad experience with a surgery. So what was your experience with this adversary that Glenn is dealing with? What'd you do?
Well, first I had a relationship with a woman who was diagnosed with cancer as a friend, and she was fighting cancer through natural methods and introduced me to alternative therapies such as Gerson therapy. I don't know if you guys have heard of that before, but there was
It sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is.
There was a German Jew in the 30s who cured cancer named Max Gerson. And he took 50 people that were sent home to die, cured all 50 of them.
Wow.
And shortly thereafter, his head nurse poisoned him and he died.
Jeepers.
And his granddaughter, Charlotte, kept it going, but she couldn't operate in the United States, so she opened a clinic in Mexico. And so I learned about that therapy through this friend that was fighting cancer. And I also learned about another therapy called Rife therapy.
Life therapy?
Rife, R-I-F-E.
Rife.
Yeah, we've heard of Rife, and isn't it light therapy or frequencies or something?
It's the original was light frequency, and he was a professor at USC and successfully cured people of cancer, and then he got visited and had to stop.
Funny how
but
that happens.
But people have tried to resurrect his device, and I bought one for this friend, and so she was using that, but she, I think, failed in her fight due to diet. And I think when we're up against cancer, it's really important to go back to Genesis 1:29, which is a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
In Genesis 6, we get to eat animals, but Father also says he's tired of us living so long. So
Yeah, that's strict.
I think there's really something about plant-based that is helpful when it comes to fighting cancer, and that's what Max Gerson discovered. So he would put people on a juice fast. He would give them cow's liver, calf's liver, I should say, for the minerals that were in the calf's liver, and coffee enemas to cause their liver to cleanse out all of the bile. The coffee enema goes through a special vein into the liver, and the liver flushes. And the liver is the main organ in our bodies that fights against cancer and other, not just cancer, but any degenerative disease. So she passed, and this, I think, was around the year 2005. Then my mother had lung cancer and passed in 2007. She had a Rife machine. She had the Rife machine that I had for the other person, I believe. Or no, I bought her a zapper. I don't know if you've heard of Hulda Clark, but Hulda Clark made a device called the zapper. And Hulda Clark was one of the pioneers in the discovery of the relationship between cancer and parasites. So the zapper would zap the parasites, and again, it was electrical frequency. You would hold on to these two electrodes, and you would adjust the frequency to different ranges that would kill different bugs. But my mom also had a love for meat, and I think that's one of the reasons why she failed.
Okay, so I need to be juicing and eating salad or something like that. Is any of it cooked vegetables, or you just do raw, or what is it?
Raw is best, but it's difficult for people to do raw. And these days, there's a lot of people saying that meat's okay. When I was studying the plant-based diet, rarely would those doctors do a study that separated natural meat from industrial meat. So it's pretty clear that industrial meats, any industrial food product, is dangerous.
Our naturopath is definitely on the carnivore side of things, and but he's, no antibiotics and grass fed, all that. He's into all that, but not. But he is into meat, and I have not abstained from meat except for maybe a day or two since this whole thing happened, and I'm not getting better or don't feel like I am. So I have had those thoughts that maybe I should be doing just juicing. And
well, one thing about carnivore that I think is good is being in a ketogenic state is helpful in the fight against cancer. When we eat carbohydrates, our insulin goes up and our human growth hormone goes down. They work in inverse. And when we're fighting against a degenerative disease, we need our human growth hormone levels to be as high as possible, because that's what signals our cells to repair. But anyway, getting back to the book, we were originally created to eat plants. That's pretty clear.
And from what I understand, when we're talking about ketogenic and we're talking about a vegetarian diet or eating a plant-based diet, you're looking at more of like the stalks and the leafy greens and the green plants, not necessarily the roots and the fruits and things of that nature. Is that right? We want more of the green stuff that's leafy.
Well, there's a guy named Chris Wark who wrote a book called Chris Beat Cancer that became a New York Times bestseller. And on the cover of his book is an apple with two carrots forming a skull and crossbones. So he beat cancer with apple carrot juice.
Apple carrot juice, okay. So
he did, huh? I thought I thought the skull and crossbones was signifying that apples and carrots weren't good or something.
No.
They killed the cancer. They were skull and crossbones for the parasites.
One thing you mentioned, Charles, about Garcon was he used calves liver. Now is that something we should be eating, or did you? Or
well, later his granddaughter cut that out of the routine, the protocol. And one of the real experts on cancer on the planet is a doctor named Jimenez in Mexico. And he has a clinic called Hope for Cancer. And so I'll give you guys a little bit of information about some of the real top therapies. One is just simply heat. In Germany, they treat people with exposure to high heat. Cancer cells cannot withstand as much heat as healthy cells. And so all you got to do is get a person hot, and you can get rid of the cancer out of their body.
Sauna?
Yeah. And then there's the oxygen therapies. It sounds like you're really, the ozone treatment of blood is one of the real high-end treatments, and increasing oxygen levels is super valuable. Cancer is a cell that doesn't like oxygen. CDS, I've had a lot of experience with, and I learned that MMS is far superior to CDS.
What's CDS?
MMS. So CDS is a product that evolved from MMS. MMS stands for Miracle Mineral Solution, and it was promoted by a guy named Jim Humble, who was a guy who was prospecting for gold in Africa. His guys got malaria. All he had was some chlorine dioxide to treat them with, and they all recovered. And so he then, started giving it to lots of people for lots of things, and many people got well. But unlike CDS, MMS is where you put the two chemicals directly into water, and the chemicals are sodium chlorite and either citric acid, or I forget the other acid. I go with citric acid since it's so readily available. You make a solution of sodium chlorite that's 25%, sodium chlorite 75% distilled water, and you make a solution that is 50% citric acid and 50% distilled water. And then you take 8 drops of each of those and put them in a liter of distilled water. It's more powerful than the CDS. I was making CDS because I read a book by a German doctor named Kalker. He was a biophysicist, something like that. And so he had a theory that if you mix the two chemicals together, they react, and then you use the water to absorb the reaction, the gas, that you wind up with something that works better. And so I bought into that, and I used it quite extensively, especially during the COVID time. But then I started reading testimonies of people who did better on just putting the drops into the water and drinking it. And since I switched, I've been so much happier with this stuff. It works better, it doesn't taste bad, and I'm not developing soreness in my body that I was from the other.
Huh.
So these are oxygen therapies. There's hyperbaric chamber therapy. There is this water that you're doing, or this gas, Brown's gas is basically dissociated water, H2O in a gas form. The Brown's gas that he's breathing right now,
Yeah.
that's basically dissociated water. So it's 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen.
How often do you recommend this, or do you recommend it?
Yeah, I do. It's really, I think, good.
Yeah, I feel that it's helped me more than anything else.
Well, I think we have some pretty good info, but I would like to hear about your experiences with how you overcame these things and what you did to. I mean, if you didn't go to a doctor to be diagnosed, how did you have any indication that you were?
Well, like Glenn, I started breaking down, and the first time I had so much pain in my back that I couldn't ride a bike. So I started, and I didn't know it was cancer. And, so I started riding a bike, just, pushing it. And then a man who was my pastor at the time, who had a pretty significant history of praying for people and seeing them healed, prayed for me, and I got healed. And that was around 2011. Then around 2015, I thought I was getting kidney stones because I had, again, intense pain in my back. And when I arrived in Jerusalem, my wife said that she had a word that I had 4th stage pancreatic cancer. And so I started researching the symptoms of 4th stage pancreatic cancer, and I had the symptoms, and I was in a thing known as cachexia, where the cancer is spreading through the body and it is converting sugar into lactic acid. And it's not refined sugar. I wasn't eating any refined sugar, but any carbohydrate that it can feed off of. And it turns your body into a giant muscle spasm. So I was in so much pain that I couldn't sleep. And I was laying on a couch in Jerusalem, and one night I felt something grab my legs, which I had up in the air for pain, and swished them back and forth, and my spine cracked from the base to the top of my neck. So I feel like an angel did that for me.
Wow.
And I knew that I was going to be okay at that moment. I had made a plan to go to Japan to install a system for a customer that had purchased it based on the condition that I would do the installation. So against my wife's wishes, I went to Japan with a suitcase full of vegetables and a juicer, and I was going to do Gerson therapy there. And this first morning I was there, I went to make juice, and part of the juicer was inside the juicer, and it destroyed the juicer. So I wound up finding this little tiny juicer in this department store in Japan, and that became my companion. And while everybody else was having lunch, I was making juice with my little juicer. And it took me about a week of juicing before I had a breakthrough and I could have a bowel movement.
What were you juicing when you did that?
Carrots, cabbage, apples. Oh, one of the big breakthroughs during that experience was taking vitamin D. I haven't spoken about vitamin D, but vitamin D is a very valuable key to healing many things, including cancer.
I've been told a few times that carrots have too much sugar in them and apples have way too much sugar and carbohydrates, and I shouldn't be eating those things. And now you're telling me that I should be juicing them. So I'm curious what you think about, do they have the same kind of sugar that cancer feeds on, or what are we talking about?
Yes, they definitely contain sugar. Apples have sugar. And Chris Wark's testimony is that he mostly, and there's lots of people that have beat cancer by making carrot apple juice. I don't know if the health benefit of the carrot, apples, the saying, apple a day keeps the doctor away. So there's something in apples that's super good for us, okay? There's something in carrots that's super good for us. And when we get healthy enough, it may be that our body is able to overcome the challenge of the cancer and get rid of it. Our bodies are, one of the biggest secrets in industrial medicine is that the body is a self-healing miracle, full of wisdom from the creator of heaven and earth.
Amen.
when you give the body what it needs to do its job and you take away from the body what's hurting it, the body heals. It's this amazing, amazing thing.
About a month or 2 months or 3 months ago, I was craving apples. I wanted apples, and one apple wasn't enough. And I'd ask him, can I have another one of those? And when I went to the carnivore friendly naturopath, he was like, no, you don't want apples. I said, I figured if my body's craving it, it's needing something. And he said, it's the cancer in you that needs it.
At this point, what I really advise Glenn is cancer is an opportunity. Any threat to our lives is an opportunity to surrender completely to our Creator and develop a connection that is different than what we had before. He's near to those who have a broken heart, and he saves such as be of a contrite spirit. And a lot of proud people that believe they have a relationship with him do not. So when he brings us low, we've got this opportunity to connect. And then through that connection, we have an opportunity to do what he says to do. And he's the one with the real wisdom in every situation. And of all my cancer experiences, that's the greatest of all lessons that I've learned.
That's what I've been learning for the last 6 months is I was impatient, egocentric, horrible. I just look at how I was, and I feel like he's molding me into what he wants me to be, and he's refining me and making me pure. It's what I feel like is going on, but it's just such a painful thing. Sometimes it's like, I don't know if I can go through this.
Well, you've heard this, I'm sure. No pain, no gain.
Yeah.
Charles, you were in Japan, you were juicing, and you had a breakthrough, and that's kind of where we ended.
The breakthrough was a bowel movement. From the time that I went to Israel to the time I went to Japan, I could not have an unassisted bowel movement without some type of a enema. And so I had my first unassisted bowel movement. I was able to go out. I had prayed and asked Father to be able to go out to dinner with the president of the company that I was doing the installation for. I didn't really want to go to dinner with him and drink juice while he enjoyed a nice Japanese dish. And so Father answered that prayer, and had to have dinner with the guy and started having these longer and longer windows of no back pain. And it took me about 6 months to recover. And what I didn't share was that was the same time Karen went through stage 4 breast cancer. So she had a lump the size of a walnut that became the size of a grapefruit and then spread into her head, and she lost sight in one of her eyes.
Oh.
That's when Yeshua came to her and told her she needed to forgive. And she told him that she had forgiven, and he told her that no, she had not. So she then wisely asked him to help her, and he did. And then he gave her that recipe, and the recipe, Glenn pretty much shared it, so I won't get back into it again. But in 1 week, the grapefruit-sized tumor went flat instead of round, and in 2 weeks, it was gone.
Wow.
And in 3 weeks, I got to see the skin cancer that was on the outside of her breast fall off. So that recipe has helped quite a number of people beat cancer.
Any kind of cancer, or is it specifically with mammary?
I would say any kind of cancer, and it, I believe, helped me at that time as well. But I wasn't limiting my my treatment to that alone.
Right.
So,
Amanda has a question and comment. That's I'm scheduled for a PET scan on June 4th. Does Charles recommend it, or should we continue to trust in Yah for healing and cancel the PET scan?
Well, Charles can't answer that question. Here's really what I hope we can pray for one another, that we will live Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. That we will truly, honestly trust in Yah with all of our hearts, that we will not lean to our own understanding, and in every single thing we do, we will ask Him for advice.
That's what I'm trying to do, but and sometimes I guess He uses people like you to help
So
me.
here's the deal. He may have a divine appointment for you at the PET scan. So He uses all these. He's got so many things happening in our lives that we just really do well when we go with the flow.
so when she prayed for forgiveness, you said that he or she prayed for help, and you said that he helped her. Was that helping her to know how to forgive, or was that the helping her know how to make the juice that you were discussing, or was it both?
It was
Or
both.
helping her remember things that she thought she had forgiven but forgot about them, and He was bringing them to her mind or something?
So what was the forgiveness piece? How did he help her to forgive? That's my question.
I think that in everything we do, there's levels, and we can forgive at a certain level, but there's another level. And so she had not forgiven at a level that she needed to forgive at. There was still some hurt, some pain, some bitterness that was in her that she needed Him to remove. And when He takes it out, we're free.
Yeah. And that's what the prayer is that he takes he takes care of things for us, which is I think that's the challenge, is saying that we forgive but not really, but still harboring or holding on to that thing and really
And
trusting in him to take it.
there's just things that in our own strength we can't do. That's what the new covenant really is all about, in my view.
You had this experience in Japan. Your wife had cancer. You both overcame it, and then where does the story go from there?
That was 2015, and then 2017 came around, and my cancer came back. This time in prayer, I received a message: don't do your natural cures. I want you to trust me. But I got afraid and I did my natural cures, and it did not go well.
What happened?
Once again, I couldn't pass anything. And this time, no matter what I tried, it wouldn't pass. And the things that I put into my stomach to try to break the dam were stuck there, turning into a bomb. And one night, I was going into toxic shock, feeling like it was the end. And I heard, trust me, this is nothing for me. And that gave me enough peace to fall asleep for about 20 minutes. And then I'd wake up in more pain. And then I'd hear it again, and I'd fall asleep. And that repeated 5 times. And the last time I heard it, I went to sleep for 2 hours. And when I woke up, I was well.
Wow, that's great.
And then, part of that was he had told me that I had asked in prayer I was the president of an international company, and I had asked in prayer to leave everything and become his disciple. And he told me that he had opened doors for me to do that, and I had not gone through, and that there was a door open for me then, and if I did not go through, I would die. So I had tried to sell the corporation, and it's complicated. But he showed me how to put it into an irrevocable trust that I can't touch, where I got to write the document and I got to sign the document. That's not complicated. And so I put everything into an irrevocable trust that I can't touch, and I came to Israel with one pair of shoes and a backpack and a briefcase, and that was the beginning of a completely new experience for me.
Wow. So you basically gave up everything of your worldly life.
Yes.
And
And all of those things, I gave up everything that's temporary to gain something that's lasting. And it was amazing. He then took me to India. I was invited to help this guy who had seen a movie called The Drop Box. It's a movie about a pastor in Korea who made a box for prostitutes to put their newborn infants into instead of leaving them on the street. And so this guy had a plan to do the same thing in India. Had seen another movie called The Forgotten Girls of India. Asked me if I knew anybody with manufacturing experience. And my whole life has been manufacturing experience. I grew up in a manufacturing facility. When my friends were out playing, I was counting parts in the stockroom and reorganizing books in the library. I had some amazing experiences in India where we built this box for women to put their babies into, and then we never got permission from the local government to do it. And in prayer, we found out that he didn't want a box, he wanted a door. And when in the movie, when the woman put her baby in the box, she also put a note in there saying that she could never forgive herself for what she had done. And he taught us that whatever we do in secret leads to shame, and whatever we do in the light leads to honor. And adoption is an honorable thing if it's done right in the light. So the next day, these delete untouchable children came looking for cardboard. We wound up having lunch with them. They brought their friends who became our salespeople in the city, that there's this place with a door, and if you need help, go there. And so typically the mothers would be pressured to have an abortion, and they were pressured with the threat of being kicked out of the house and having no other place to go. That was different than if they had a place to go. So we provided the place to go, and found out that after the baby was born, oftentimes the family would take them back, because when you got a beautiful little baby girl, things change.
wow, that's amazing.
It was quite an experience.
Especially since, Yeshua is the door. And so,
Yes.
so he says, I don't want a box, I want a door. Yeah, there's a reason for that, because he is the door. So that's
We don't want
amazing.
to put him in a box.
No, not at all. You can't put him in a box.
I got this very sharp message to give at his congregation about all of us becoming uncompromising people that are only really interested in the Father's approval. Yeshua said, how can you believe that seek honor one from another and don't seek the honor that comes from Yah only? And to this day, it's a challenge that I'm still working on.
You had prayed about being a disciple, And what does that? What is your discipleship? What does that look like?
And he's living up to his last name. He's he's named that for a reason, Grenci.
Well, at the time that I only had a backpack and a briefcase and one pair of shoes, I was doing a lot better as a disciple. I can tell you guys both. Something that happened since that time is the people that I put in charge of my trust decided to cash out my mother's trust and give it to me. And that was not required. I didn't expect that. They were under no obligation to do that. So they cashed it out. It's about $1 million. They give it to me, and I give half of that to my children. I keep half of it and start giving it to people in need. So I probably gave away half of that to people in need. And then I used about $250,000 to prepare for what I think are end time scenarios that pertain to the mark of the beast. So I have for quite some time been impressed by the combination of Hosea 6 and 2 Peter 3, that 2 days after Yeshua's resurrection, there's going to be another resurrection. 2,000 years after Yeshua's resurrection, there's going to be another resurrection. And when COVID happened, it really seemed like it was coming down. And anyways, I've been preparing. I have this big house full of all kinds of food stuff. But I realized that physical preparation and spiritual preparation are not the same thing. And I really believe I've been given to see that the nation that's born in one day has not been born yet. That in Isaiah chapter 11, and we were talking about a plant-based diet, okay? In Isaiah chapter 11, when the nation is born in a day, lions go back to a plant-based diet.
Yeah, that's right. They
So,
eat hay like an ox.
yeah.
What did you say that 2 Peter scripture was?
3, and I'm not sure which verse it is, but he says this: I hope you're not ignorant of one thing. A day with Yah is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is a day.
Yeah.
So now that I've got all this preparation here, it's like, I don't know. Yeshua said, don't lay up treasure on earth. Where your treasure is, your heart will be, things like that. And the disciple call is not a call to make it to spare your own life in troubled times.
That's right.
The disciples got killed for what they did. And really, I'm hoping that he's going to help me to go back to a place where I'm not tied down and I'm not afraid.
I think that when we look at, we're kind of veering off into end times eschatology stuff, but when we look at the two witnesses, and they're overcome at the end of their testimony, when they're overcome in the city that is where the master was impaled, I believe that they know that that's coming just the same way that Yeshua knew that it was coming. And that's a big, I think, a big realization to be one of those people, to let go of that fear that enslaves us, is also what we're dealing with these health issues as well.
Absolutely.
And so when they are in the city where the master was impaled, they are going to know what They know what is going to happen to them. But yet they're doing it anyways, just like Yeshua did it anyways. Just like we have to listen and put our trust in him and do what he says anyways, even though this body is pulling me in another direction a lot of times. And you're there, you're in the land, and I look around, I have my job and my family to take care of and my son to be concerned about and bills to pay, and all of that is very overwhelming. To give it all up to listen to him and follow him, I feel like a lot of this stuff drowns out that ability to hear him when we have all of these concerns in the world. And the health concerns is just another one of those attacks to keep us from hearing where he wants to take us. The parable of the seeds, some of it lands on good soil, and then the ones that get pecked up by the crows that just come and the birds just come and take it away. Those are all the cares of the world that are trying to take us away from listening to his will for us.
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Yeah. And so in line with these thoughts, Glenn, I really encourage you to seek help from heaven to come to a place where the only thing you honestly want is Father's will. And if he wants to take you, hineni, here I am, take me. And if he wants to keep you doing something, then praise him for rearranging your deck of cards like he did me.
I felt from the beginning that he was going to use this cancer and stuff for his will and his purposes. And I've asked him to lead me in all decision making and make it clear to me what I should do for everything, for anything, whatever is important for him, that he shows me his way, and that I will do whatever he wants me to do. I'm not sure. Apparently, I'm not there yet because I'm still in this shape. So I'm a work, I guess, and there's a lot of work to do in me because I needed a lot of changing.
We all do. Psalm 119, in faithfulness you have afflicted me that I might learn your ways.
Is that the first part of the psalm or is somewhere in the middle? That's a big psalm.
Yeah, it's a big one. I'm not sure. I think I don't know. I'm not very good on verse numbers.
16 or somewhere in there, 20. I'm sure.
But there are 3 afflicted verses in 119. Okay. Before I was afflicted, I went astray. That's another one. But now I walk in your precepts, or something like that.
Yeah, Matt told me Psalm 106, and when I read that, I said, "That's me." It was just like David was afflicted, and the enemy overtook him, and he was dependent and calling out to Yahweh for deliverance. And I feel like sometimes when I'm in pain, that's sounds like me. And also my daughter, one day when I was going through some terrific pain, she opened up the Bible right to Psalm 77, and it was the same thing. I said, that was me this morning when I was in this pain, terrific pain, and I was calling out to him to help me. And it seems like when I'm in the worst pain, that's when I call out the most, and I need to call out to him and thank him when I'm not in the pain.
Do you know what wild lettuce is?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it?
I've had it as a tincture, and it was supposed to be for pain relief.
Yeah, you can just basically blend it and drink it.
Really? I don't know what
Well,
it looks like as a plant out in the garden or out in the yard or anything.
Is that the same as miner's lettuce, or is it that a different?
um, I'm not sure, but I can send you. Well, just Google it, wild lettuce, and it grows everywhere. And they say that it is more effective than morphine with no side effects.
Wow.
And I'm not sure what the more effective and morphine pertains to. They may have to somehow extract something from it, but I don't. I'm on this leaf thing where I just put it in the blender. I don't even heat it, because oftentimes when you heat stuff, you lose benefit. So I just heat it, or I blend it, strain it. I have this really good strainer that's designed for cheese, straining cheese, and drink it. And
So it's
so
like
easy.
cheesecloth?
It's not a cloth, it's this plastic thing. And maybe that's not good because it's plastic, but anyways, it does a good job straining. Or you can just use a stainless steel mesh strainer. The finer the mesh, the better. And, small particles are no big deal. And so
So
probably
this wild lettuce grows around your place there too, huh?
yeah,
Wow.
but not just wild lettuce. Okay, we got pomegranate trees. All these biblical trees are the ones that I think are the focus for Jordan Rubin and
Fig
Josh.
leaves.
Yeah, big.
So, what you're doing, Glenn, with the hydrogen gas and the oxygen treatments and the ozone treatment are all good things that you should probably keep going. I think is what I've gathered from this discussion. Those are all good stuff, and then you figured out the CDS issue with that, so now you can dilute it a little bit more and it won't taste so terrible and be hard to drink.
Yeah.
And I think you'll get more from it. When it's over the top like that, I don't think you get the same effect.
And I should take it on an empty stomach.
And take it on an empty stomach. Maybe start a juicing regimen. Juicing is really, it just, it takes a little bit of time. You gotta juice the stuff, and the more fresh the better.
I'm glad that I remembered one more thing. Okay, almost everybody. There's this doctor named Michael Greger. Have you guys heard of him before?
I don't think so.
Okay, so he's a doctor who had this experience when he was 6 years old. His mother had had so many heart surgeries that they told her there's nothing more we can do, and they sent her home to die. And she was watching TV, and she saw a program about a guy in California who was promising to reverse heart disease. And so his grandmother miraculously made it from Maryland to California and went to this ranch. And instead of dying, she lived another 30 years to be in her 90s. Okay. So this guy's grandma, in 3 weeks, she's walking 10 kilometers a day. Okay. This person that was supposed to die, he's walking 10 kilometers a day. And what's significant about that is our bodies have two fluid systems, and everybody's familiar with the first one, blood.
Lymphatic.
Yes, and so the lymphatic system is what takes out the trash. And what I really recommend, Glenn, if you can, is to get a massage chair that will get the lymph moving all through your body. The high-end chairs have these two channels that your legs and feet go into, and you can feel these rollers going up and down, squeezing your legs in an up and down movement. The thing about blood is it has a pump. The only thing that moves lymphatic fluid is motion. And so in your condition, it's not easy for you to walk 10 kilometers.
No.
So getting something along that line to get the lymphatic system moving, which is super important,
Yeah.
is valuable in my view.
I think you're right.
Yeah, get the lymphatic system moving, anything that can help just your body to keep moving while you're not able to on your own yet.
And I think all things considered, you look pretty good to me.
Oh, thank you.
Have you been juicing at all, Glenn?
Yeah, but not enough.
Yeah, I think you'll notice a big improvement if you start juicing more.
Sprouted broccoli seeds, one of the greatest cancer-fighting foods on the face of the planet.
Sprouted broccoli seeds.
We eat broccoli sprouts and broccoli microgreens, where they're beyond the sprouting stage, where you grow them in soil in a like a cafeteria tray.
Yeah, good for you.
So you're doing good stuff.
Let me add one last thing that I've been doing that's been helping me. There's a big awakening to the importance of the mitochondria. I don't know if you guys have been hearing stuff about mitochondria.
Yes, yeah. We have.
So there's this protocol where you use green coffee and coconut oil and cinnamon. And the combination of those three things taken first thing in the morning and nothing else for an hour and a half. But I add a bunch of stuff to that. So I add, for example, matcha green tea, and I add milk thistle, I add artichoke leaf. These are things that that promote bile flow throughout the body. Remember the Gerson thing, to get bile moving?
Yeah.
And I use stevia, but in its natural form, not refined form. When you take stevia leaves and just grind them into a green powder, I think it's better for you than when you get anything that's refined into a white substance.
Right.
So I use that as a non-carb sweetener to this drink. And I've been finding that it's really helped me tremendously in my strength and energy. And so
do you drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach?
Yeah, you drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. And it's important to get organic coffee, because coffee is another crop that doesn't need to be sprayed, that gets sprayed. So you get green organic coffee and you grind it yourself in a coffee grinder. And then you put all that stuff in the blender, and you don't cook it, you just make it warm. You put it in a jar, all the solids will settle to the bottom. You pour the liquid off, you put it with coconut oil. They recommend MCT oil, but my body doesn't like MCT oil, and it's, again, a refined product.
Oh, is it?
So, MCT oil.
Yeah, that's coconut oil, but it's refined, I guess, huh?
Right. So I do better on just coconut oil, extra virgin Kirkland. Are you guys close to Costco?
Yeah, we have Kirkland coconut oil.
Okay, so they're extra virgin coconut oil. All of their products that are organic are pretty good.
You could probably use a French press too.
Yeah, you can. You can. Exactly. That's a great idea.
How much water do you use?
I use about a liter.
And this is distilled water or spring water?
I use distilled water that I add sodium chloride and sea salt to remineralize it. And then I put all that. I put a tablespoon of each thing in the blender. Oh, I also put chocolate in there, cocoa powder, and not a full tablespoon of stevia, like a third of a tablespoon of stevia, the green stuff. And it actually tastes pretty decent, and man, it's really helped me a lot.
That sounds good. I'm going to try that. I got to get some green coffee beans from somewhere though first.
How about dairy? Amanda asked. Probably
Um,
stay off it, I assume.
well, again, industrial dairy is deadly. Okay, raw goat's milk mixed with flaxseed oil is a proven cure for cancer.
Oh, is it?
Raw goat's milk with flaxseed oil.
Fermented raw milk. Okay, so there's this stuff. There was a German doctor named Johanna Budwig who took quark. I don't know if you ever heard of quark, but basically it's like kefir, similar to kefir. And she put flaxseed oil with it, and people beat cancer with that alone.
Wow.
We use kefir?
Yeah, kefir is ideal, especially if it's raw, from raw milk.
Wow.
Raw milk is a superfood. You know,
But it's
that's
better
one
if it's goat or sheep rather than cow, or does it matter?
I think it's more nutritious. I think cows, it depends on how they're treated. You know, if the animals are eating grass the way God intended, it's completely different than if they're eating something else.
Well, gosh, you've been a wealth of information, and it was nice to meet you. Hopefully, one of these days we'll meet in person, and I'll be walking. Thank you guys for everything that you put this together, and I pray that we all hear from you, Yahweh, our Elohim, King of the universe. We just thank you for all the provision you've blessed us with all of our lives, and thank you for the trials and tribulations too that bring us closer to you, and pray that you guard us and lead us and make sure that every decision we all ever make in our lives is that we hear from you first, and we thank you for being our rear guard, and who never slumbers nor sleeps, but always watches out over us. And we just thank you for everything that you give us, and pray for going forward and only not looking to the left or right, but just following you for everything. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, your mercies endure forever. Toda Rabbah, everybody.
Amen. And speaking of Psalms, Psalms 25 verse 14 says, "The secret of Yahweh is with those who revere him, and he makes his covenant known to them. My eyes are ever towards Yahweh, for he brings my feet out of the net. Turn your face to me and show me favor, for I am lonely and afflicted. The distresses of my heart have enlarged. Oh, bring me out of my distresses. Look on my affliction and my toil, and forgive all my sins."
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Charles, for agreeing to come on and meet with us. I know it's getting late there where you're at, so this is greatly appreciated. And Glenn, I'm glad you were able to come on, and Amanda, and chat it up. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. It's not too late there. You guys are about ready for lunchtime, I think.
Yeah, I starting to get hungry. Got to have a juice.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming and chatting it up.
Toda Rabbah lehitraot. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you to both of you.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
When it comes to the subject of affliction, one of the most amazing testimonies in our book is the story of Job, where Yah says to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, a perfect and an upright man, one who fears me and rejects evil?" And so in the story of Job, it's amazing that Job did not make the same mistakes Adam made. when Adam sinned, he blamed his wife. And in a way, he blamed the Creator. And blame is denial. And denial results in no deliverance. In addition, he never gave any credit to the devil. And he didn't fear the devil. And he didn't blame the devil like Eve did. He basically worshiped. And that's the way we need to go when we are afflicted. We need to worship our way through it. So I'm thankful for the time we had last night, and may we all be blessed to overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony and by not being afraid of death or loving our lives in this world. Shalom, shalom, achi.